Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein doesn't see a need at this point for a special prosecutor in the probe into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Democratic lawmakers and others have pushed for the move in the wake of the controversy over President Donald Trump's firing of FBI Director Jim Comey. Critics of the Trump administration's handling of the Russia investigation, they have long held the view that a special prosecutor is needed. My next guest has wanted an independent prosecutor since March. Michigan Senator Gary Peters led a letter calling on the DOJ Inspector General to investigate any political influence with the FBI investigation, and he joins me now. Hey, Senator, answer the question that was just raised by Pat Buchanan in my last segment. He said to me, look, the FBI has had 10 months, and they've got nothing to show for it. Move on already.
Well, I don't know if they have nothing to show for it. We know that they're in the midst of an investigation. They aren't going to make that kind of information public until they wrap up that investigation and make sure the evidence that they're seeing, if they are seeing anything, is actually substantiated. And we know that Mr. Comey was going to get additional resources, and that's what he was asking for. And then shortly thereafter was fired, which is why this is so troubling. We have an investigation that's ongoing, and that appears was actually ramping up, probably to look a little bit deeper into whatever they're finding. And the president wanted to, it seems, to cut that short and fire the FBI director.
You were one of, I think the number is 96 members of the Senate who voted to confirm Mr. Rosenstein in the position of Deputy AG. Are you regretting that vote now?
Well, I'm not pleased with the actions that we have seen. There's no question about that. I think he still has time to come forward. We're going to get more information about what was in his thought process this week. He has agreed to come before the entire Senate. All 100 of us will be there. We have a number of questions. I have certainly some very specific questions about the timeline and what was going on in that firing decision. And I hope that he realizes the importance of having a special prosecutor, that we have to clear the air. We have some very, very important business that we have to do in the Senate and Congress to deal with challenges in this country. This is such a cloud over the administration. The fact that the Trump administration folks may have been involved in collusion during the campaign, this smoke has to clear. And so my view is very clear. Let's have a special prosecutor that's independent, not subject to any kind of political interference. You'll have transparency. Let's find out where the facts go. People should not be afraid of the facts. If the president believes that there's nothing there, then he shouldn't be afraid of the facts coming out. Let's get this investigation going. Let's get it over with. Let's have 100% credibility with a special prosecutor, and let's make sure it's done with integrity and done in a nonpartisan way.
Well, unfortunately, like so many other things that are dealt with by the House and the Senate, this is viewed entirely through partisan lenses. The New York Times has maintained a tally. I'll put up on the screen, as a matter of fact, those both in the House and Senate who call for a special prosecutor or similar. One Republican, by the way, that is Representative Tom McClintock from California, 139 Democrats or independents. Those who've called for an independent investigation, which is the next tally, the very latest number on that, only 6 Republicans, 85 Democrats. I offered at the outset of the program, Senator, some recent polling data from Gallup that shows that Democrats and Republicans beyond the House and Senate are seeing this largely through partisan lenses. So what does the future hold if all the R's are on one side and the D's are on the other with regard to this investigation?
It doesn't look good now, but we have to move beyond that. This is, to me, about Russia. This is about a foreign government that we know was engaged in an unprecedented way in our election. That should be troubling to every American. That goes to our core values and the most fundamental aspect of the American democracy, which is our election process. This is not about partisanship. This is the time for folks to stand up and say, we are going to put country ahead of party. And I certainly hope that some of my Republican colleagues in the Senate will do that. Certainly, I've been encouraged by a number of them who have made comments and how disappointed and concerned they are about the firing of the FBI director. That hasn't risen to the point where they're asking for a special prosecutor, but I know that there are concerns there. We've got to keep pushing forward and saying, we've got to clear the air here. We've got to do this in a way that restores trust. We have a confidence of trust in this country right now. And to me, this festering cloud over Congress and over the country only continues to further erode trust. And a democracy can't function without trust. We've got to get to the bottom of this.
Final quick question. So apparently President Trump wanted a loyalty oath, a pinky swear or something from FBI Director Comey and couldn't get it when they had dinner together. Might a positive net effect of all of this be increased scrutiny on the process of confirming the successor such that he or she is not a patsy for the president?
Well, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, we have to set a very high bar. One of the fundamental institutions that helps maintain trust in our society is an independent FBI. That we know the FBI will be completely independent, will be fair, will let facts drive any conclusions that they have as they bring these cases forward. That is fundamental. That means the next director of the FBI has to clear a very high bar. They have to have a track record of being independent, of being nonpartisan, a record of exhibiting integrity in everything that they do, and a true professional. And I don't think the American people should expect anything else. They should not receive anything else. And as a Congress, we should demand those are the types of nominees that will be put forward.
Senator Gary Peters, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Keep the tweets and the Facebook comments coming. Here's another before we break. Just one. Smerconish, sorry, it's not a Russian investigation, but a bunch of sore losers looking for a crime. Hey, Brad, do you want to know the answer? Because I do. Do you want to know the answer as to whether the Russians meddled in our election, and if so, whether there was collusion? Because that's not a Republican issue, and that's not a Democratic issue. That is an American issue. Still ahead, I got a summons for jury duty. So I had to answer this question. Would you be more likely to believe the testimony of a police officer or any other law enforcement officer because of their job? My answer is next.